We have nothing to do with Morgan Stanley.
Yeah. Tell the bankruptcy court. Morgan fails, all our accounts go on their balance sheet.
It's just crazy. Morgan's makes this sucker's bid and we pay their fucking gambling debt?
Short the bank stocks. We wait.
Or we sell our swaps when the market opens. We get our bonuses, our investors get their profits. We get 30 cents on the dollar. Not bad.
We're 3 times that.
Not if there's no market left to sell them in.
Forget it. We're not giving out any lifeboats.
Mark, if Morgan goes under, we end up with nothing.
Vinny. Jesus, come on. I say when we sell.
Look, I get that this is personal for you, but we have a fiduciary responsibility.
No, we don't. Nobody's acting responsible. Fuck responsibility. Are you kidding me? The assholes at the big banks. I want to take...
You boys want any appetizers?
We're talking, please. Excuse us.
Sorry.
We're going to wait, and we are going to wait, and we are going to wait until they feel the pain, until they start to bleed. That is what I want.
But what about our clients who've entrusted us with their savings?
I say when we sell.
This isn't about you. This isn't about you.
Hey,
You're up beside Mahogany.
hey, I say when we sell.
Whatever you say, Morgan.
I think if you want to understand The Big Short, it's a good idea to first maybe understand something about the American economy. And one good way to understand the American economy is by listening and watching to the scene I just played for you. The American economy, in my opinion, comes down to a couple of things. Lobbyists, politicians, bankers, Wall Street people, none of them are acting responsibly, and they haven't been for decades. The reason I think that scene is so important is because that is underlying everything. I don't know what the mentality or psychology is behind looting, but basically the idea that the other guy isn't acting responsibly, so why should I, comes into play. There must be a similar mentality between looters and bankers and Wall Street people. If I had to give an honest answer, I would say the only people who are acting responsibly are the American people. They're the ones who go to work, they're the ones who slodge through bills day to day, they go 9 to 5, and they do it because they have to support their family and they have to keep a roof over their head. They have no choice. But the people who are supposed to be watching out for them, the people who are supposed to be making sure that that people aren't breaking the law, aren't doing their job. So when you have people who are supposed to be the ones enforcing responsibility, the ones who are supposed to make the playing field, not the results, but the playing field fair and by the law, they're not doing their job. So what happens is, since average people can't operate in the same way that Wall Street people do, they end up maybe acting less responsibly in other ways. It's like suppressing one thing and then it just spills out into other areas of your life. This is a tiny example, but I'll give you the most the least egregious example. But if I go into a fast food joint, like say Chipotle, I'm going to get a lemonade, but I'm not going to pay for a lemonade. I'm going to tell them, hey, I just want a water cup. And then you go over to the fountain. It's kind of the honor system. The people at Chipotle don't give a shit, and neither do I. So I fill my cup up with lemonade every time. And why do I do it? Because on the smaller scale, it's like a little victory for me. Now times that by however many times you need to when you're talking about serious things like, people going underwater for their mortgage. Like, it's no wonder that people do desperate things when the system that's in place, and I'm not an anti-capitalist, but I'm just saying that the system which allows something like subprime mortgages to happen, allows banks to short, to get bailed out, when those things happen, the idea of being honorable is sort of out the window. And that's really what this movie is about. It's about the lack of honor in the system. You have a bunch of people who, take advantage of a system that was built for them, that's not built for the average American. It's built for corporations now because, when you have that much leverage with that much money, it's really difficult to get it to swing back the other way. maybe the only encouraging thing is to think about how, minorities got votes and women got rights while men were in charge. That's maybe the only bright light, is that it's possible to, within a corrupt system, to have legislation or some sort of a movement towards fairness and equality, while under the umbrella of the corruption that has existed for how many decades. The interesting thing about this movie to me is that there are a couple of scenes that really tell you something about the way everyday Americans live. If you're not in America, then you wouldn't really know the kind of things that we go through. We don't have health care. I have mentioned this before, I think, on the podcast, but, my former spouse had cancer, and we had to put it on our credit card. Our credit card! Can you imagine? What kind of a system is this? Maybe a few years ago, I had an infection on my finger, and it kind of blew up, and I had to go to the hospital, the ER, to get it taken care of. Ended up being fine, but, they had to do, minor surgery by cutting it open and fixing it that way. Immediately after the surgery, with blood all over me, literally blood on me, someone, a hospital worker, wheeled a card around and said, "Okay, we accept Visa, Discover, MasterCard. How will you be paying for this?" That's the disgustingness of this society. And it transfers... This movie, The Big Short, is not just about financial problems or financial pyramids or Ponzi schemes or, derivatives or credit default swaps or crazy, crazy market systems. It's about every aspect of America that's difficult, that makes life more difficult than it needs to be for the average American. We don't have a safety net of healthcare. We don't have, a guarantee that our children are going to have healthcare and a home and food and all that. We don't have that. Yes, there are welfare things, but they're so pathetic compared to the rest of the Western industrialized nations that it's embarrassing, one, and two, it really is a life or death situation for so many people on a regular basis. So watching this movie, it's one of the best movies of the 21st century, maybe in the last 4 or 5 decades, in my opinion. The acting is so great. The story that's being told, unfortunately, is true, and it's so powerful. But the way that it's put together is just fantastic. This is a 10-star out of 10-star movies. You're not going to make a better movie than this. Christian Bale is great. Steve Carell is great. Brad Pitt is excellent. Ryan Gosling, forget about it. I highly recommend it. And again, to go back to the scene, I think if you want to really kind of get an idea of what the movie is about, and it's about the American financial system, that scene at the beginning where they say nobody's acting responsibly, that's the key to the whole movie. It's the key to the whole crisis. It might even be the key to America.
Perhaps this is its way of fighting back. But sometimes something happens better than all the riches and power. It could be anything. Very likely you notice when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not empty, a crumb. Suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise, and not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back. But sometimes something happens better than all the riches and power. Could be anything, but very likely you notice in an instant when love begins. Anyway, that's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy is not empty, a crumb. If you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give in to it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We are not wise, not very often kind, and much can never be redeemed. Still, life has some possibility left. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back.